I pulled 6 months of user data just now, and get this, consistent posters gained 4,863 followers on average. Inconsistent posters, 783. That's 6 times more growth. Same tool, same features, same AI. The only difference was showing up. Turns out, reveal, LinkedIn's algorithm literally punishes you for disappearing. And most people quit right before it starts working. Let me show you why and what we built to fix it. I mean, let me actually show this to you, okay? So this is my badass SQL query for our database. But check this out. Inconsistent people, average growth 783. Consistent posters, they start what they started with, what they ended up with after 6 months, 4,800 over 6 months. And yeah, I mean, we've all been there, right? You stare at the blank page, you finally push through and post something. Then you post again, and maybe you post for a third time, and nothing. Crickets. It feels like you're shouting into the void. So you stop, you tell yourself you'll get back to it when you have more time, better ideas, a clearer strategy, but you don't. Because there's no feedback, no visible progress, and without that, motivation dies. I always used to think that successful LinkedIn creators had some secret. Better writing, better hooks, more creativity. But it turns out I was completely wrong. All they had was more consistency and more compounding growth. I mean, to this day, less than 1% of LinkedIn's 1 billion users post weekly. And that tiny group captures almost all of the available visibility on the platform. There isn't a talent gap, there is mainly a consistency gap here. Most people aren't failing on content, they are failing on showing up and doing the work and doing the iterations to become successful. And with all the LinkedIn algorithm changes in 2025, this has just become more and more obvious. The 6-fold difference in our data wasn't about who wrote better posts, it was about who kept posting consistently. So yeah, let me quickly show this to you again on a good screen share, I guess. The inconsistent guys started on average with 4.4k followers, ended on 5.2 followers after the last 6 months, which makes an average growth of only 783 followers. The consistent guys, 8k to 13k, with an average follower gain of 4.86k. Quite a complicated query that I had to build here to get this insight. So when I saw this, I just had to know, is this just us or is this universal? First thing that I looked into was this amazing buffer blog post. How often should you post on LinkedIn in 2025? And they have a different data set to look at here. But basically the same insight, right? They're literally saying moving from 1 post per week to 2 to 5 is like flipping a switch. And you can see here that the average reach goes up and the average engagement goes up the more you post. There's also the case of 11 plus posts, so more than once per day. And this is an interesting one because most people out there will tell you that at least 3 posts per week, maybe 2 to 5 posts per week, is the sweet spot. And they are correct. If you post multiple times per day, the second post might impact the reach that the first post gets. Posting more than twice per day is definitely nothing you should do. And if you post twice per day, you should gap it. You should have at least 6, better 8 hours in between those 2 posts. Now, there is nothing wrong with posting twice per day. Let me say that again. Nothing wrong with that if you have a decent gap between the 2 posts. Most people will still say post 3 to 5 times per week. Why? Because it seems to be a sweet spot for what you can actually keep up with before you make LinkedIn content your full-time job. Now here's a nice secret. To kind of like get into that reach, but still keeping a manageable amount of posts is by reposting your post a couple of hours later, right? So you post it at one time and then 6 or 8 hours later, you just repost it again. And we've just made that a breeze with content, and I'll show you later. And then, of course, there's Richard van der Blom's algorithm report, latest update from October this year. And he says the same thing. Irregular posting, gaps followed by bursts of activity caused the sharpest decline in reach. The algorithm actively deprioritizes accounts with inconsistent behavior. So LinkedIn really is punishing inconsistency and disappearing. It's also punishing bad content, of course, but decent content and consistency is the winning formula. So if consistency is the key, why is it so hard? Because your early posts feel completely pointless. Week 1 and week 2 on LinkedIn, you are basically invisible. Often you get a first initial boost on your first post and then it teeters out. The algorithm is still learning that you exist. The algorithm is still learning what you're about, what your topics are, and that is normal. That's how it works for everyone. But the problem is obvious, right? No visibility or no visible progress equals no motivation to continue. It's hard. And we are wired to quit things that don't give us immediate feedback, right? In this crazy dopamine-infested world that we live in. It's not a character flaw, it's just human psychology. And like Duolingo figured this out, right? They got me to learn Spanish for 100 days straight because of the streak counter. And streaks work because they make invisible progress visible, tangible. They give you something else to work on that's, more tangible than the actual progress that you're doing. And visible progress is nothing else but small, invisible progress compounding over time. But LinkedIn doesn't give you this feedback loop, right? There's no streak, there's no visible proof that you're building something. So most people quit in week 2, in week 3, in week 4, right before it starts to work. So here's the mindset shift that actually changed it for me. In the early days, stop tracking outputs. Stop being obsessed with impressions, follower, likes, and so on. Just ignore that. Start tracking your input instead. Posts published, streaks maintained, days you showed up. Your 30th post will outperform your first one by 10x. This is pretty much guaranteed if you keep going. And this is why we built something this week, honestly, just as much for myself as for you guys, because everybody struggles with this. Let me show you. So this is our shiny new dashboard. And the goal for this is twofold. Give you motivation and give you a quick overview of what's going on and what's working, right? So that's why we have this nice streak counter in the top right corner. You can see on a glance how many days you are going, and it depends on how many days you set your own goal. And also it'll show how much in the future you've already scheduled. You'll also see a quick analytics overview of your most important pointers, your upcoming posts, your most recent post, and how that's doing. If you are new to the platform, you'll also get a nice checklist here to point you to various parts of the app and show you stuff that you might have not yet seen or might have not yet used. And yeah, this is still fresh. I'm hoping for a lot of input from you guys on how we can improve this and make this more useful for you over time. And then remember the hack that I just told you about. If you go into a post, this one is scheduled for today actually, you can now automatically reshare this post through the scheduler. So all you have to do is basically just click that checkbox and will automatically reshare that post from your account 6 or 8, whatever you put in hours after you initially posted it, which gives you this like 2 posts per day cadence without the need to actually work on 2 posts per day. So really nifty little feature there. If you are starting out on LinkedIn with content, here's what you can expect of the journey. Week 1 to 2, The algorithm is learning that you exist. Expect nothing out of the ordinary. You might get one post that performs very well. This is the algorithm testing you against your audience. At the same time, if you use Continent's AI will start learning your tone and voice better and better. Will start training on the edits that you do, on the posts that we create for you, and so on. So post creation will get incrementally better along the LinkedIn algorithm learning about you as well. Week 3 to 4, you'll see first signs of life. You will see small wins that start to compound. Week 5 to 8, you can see the momentum will build. Your tribe starts forming. People start recognizing your name. And after week 9 is where usually the compound effect really kicks in. And that's where the 6-fold increase happens. Most people quit in week 2. The 6-fold winners keep their streak alive. Choose wisely. So here's my challenge for you. Pick a time, at least 14 days. I would recommend a month. Post at least 3 times per week. Don't obsess over your analytics yet. Just keep going and obsess over your posts and over your streak. If you want content to make that easier and to see your streak back to back and to help you creating posts, 14-day free trial, link is in the description. The best time to start was 6 months ago. The second best time is next Monday. Off to writing my own posts and pushing my streak back up. See you next week, guys.